All right, we've got a lot to cover today. It looks like the conflict in the Middle East is heating up just a little bit. Maybe it's actually cooling down now. Actually, last night Israel conducted a strike within Iran, but a lot of the headlines are looking like this one right here, where it says Iran likely to dismiss limited strike from Israel. So it looks like maybe they are not interested in escalating this any further, which would be very good for quite a lot of reasons. But that's all there is to say about that. Last night, a lot of the futures market and in the after and pre-market for a lot of stocks, we saw a significant dip. Crypto had a bit of a dip, but as of the morning, it says it doesn't care. It's chugging along. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin halving clock. So this clock is actually adjusted for my time zone. So it is saying that it is Pacific time, 6:20 p.m. We should be seeing the halving my time, which if you're on the east coast of the US, that's going to be 9:20 p.m. and UTC time. That's going to happen on 4:20, sometime after midnight for the people living in that area. I believe that was the intention altogether. Push it off to 4:20 because the crypto market thinks it's funny, and yeah, that is. Anyways, Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. We got out of this descending channel on my chart here. This is the 4-hour chart, by the way. We are currently doing a bull flag here. It looks like, yeah, that news last night, unless it escalates further, it looks like crypto has decided it does not care anymore, and it is going to go up regardless. So we're now in this new like ascending channel coming out of this descending channel. We did this break. We've got a flag forming here. Off of this flag, if it were to continue, let's see, let's get the poll of this bad boy. If it were to continue from here, we'll go from current price. That would take us right back up to about $68,000, $69,000 if this turns out to be a bull flag and it breaks upward from here, which, as we know, if we look at the Bitcoin chart, it really likes to do like a flag pattern and then a big move. So it's doing a flag pattern, probably going to be followed by a pretty big move as people get excited about the halving coming up today. Let's take a look at the miners. The miners are having another pretty fantastic day. Now, this is a 2-hour chart on CleanSpark. I know it's not what I usually show. I usually show the daily. We broke out of this descending channel. We did a nice breakout move. We got a little bit of liquidity here yesterday, and now we are starting to move back on up. From here, we're at $17 right now. We are very quickly going to close in on $18 here for CleanSpark. That'd be pretty fantastic. This poll here, if this ends up being a bull flag, which I'm pretty certain it is going to be a bull flag, it looks like we are going to, from here, this bull flag could take us up to almost $19 on CleanSpark if it plays out to its entirety. So that's pretty sweet for CleanSpark. Let's take a look at the daily. How is the daily looking? We are currently oversold on the 2-hour, by the way. On the daily, we are not oversold at all yet. We're up at just at 60. So we're just looking bullish. We got a gap up scenario today. Look at this. I mean, between the bodies, it's not a gap up from the wick, but we finally, like, notice how the last 3 days, the candles bodies all come in contact with each other, even if just barely, or if there's this slightly little gap there. Notice today, there's a gap, a sizable gap. If this stays there, that's going to look up a little bit to me like a gap up and go sort of situation. Something like back here. Now this would be more ideal where you get a full on gap. Oh yeah, I was playing with some fibs yesterday. We might talk about that. Yeah, full on gap. Now if we get a full on gap like that, maybe tomorrow, if this momentum continues, like we get a gap up above and not even the wicks are touching, ooh boy, that's going to be pretty sweet. I'm going to be looking for the top of this ascending channel here around $20 if that happens tomorrow. That'd be pretty great. What was I doing over here with the fibs? I was playing with these yesterday. I was looking for fib retracement levels like the 618 level, which is right where we are right now, actually from the bottom of the move prior to the highs in February. I didn't do it for March, but actually that's a weekend video thing. That's going to be like 30 minutes all on its own. You don't want to be bothered with that right now, and it's not super important. We're moving up. That's what matters. We'll do a deeper dive on some of that stuff over the weekend probably. I've got some other tickers I'd like to talk about over the weekend that I haven't addressed in quite a while, so that's also a thing I want to do over the weekend. Those are weekend videos. Too much news is happening for me to cover so many things. I know it feels like my focus has been fairly narrow lately, at least in my opinion it has been. But I feel like a lot of the news events and things that are happening really haven't allowed me to take a broader stance on any of my videos here other than just like, this is what's happening. This is how it's affecting it. These are some of the patterns that are appearing in some of our favorite tickers, and like, oh, well, let's move on from here. So that's really what I've been stuck on lately. Let's take a look at Mara right now. So we're going to go real quick right through the miners here and just see how they're doing today. Mara is still technically in this downward trend. It is up 1.73%. Remember, CleanSpark was up 5%. So Mara continues to underperform. Also, this weak action here to the upside on Mara, this could very easily break down. And if this broke down, it could come easily, quickly down to 1350, even lower down to 1233 if it stays inside of this descending channel. So this could be just a breath from the selling, which is not great if you're in Mara. It still doesn't look great. Like, it honestly, it doesn't look great. Mara doesn't look good until we get back up and above like $17, and then we only really have room up to about 20. And after 20, then we might see some nice big moves. But until we get out and above kind of this block here and above some of this stuff on the left back here up to about $17, until we get up and above that area, the Mara's not looking so hot. And that's unfortunate. I don't have a very big Mara position anymore. I actually sold out of my Mara position up in the mid 20s. I pulled out about 100% return on it. At one point I had a 300% return on Mara, and I let that bleed down to 100%. I just sold it back then, back in the mid 20s. And I've just kind of been watching it since then. I've been looking for some kind of strength to say it's time to get back into Mara, and I just haven't really seen it yet on Mara. So that's what it's going on there. RIOT, let's take a look at RIOT real quick. RIOT, I have a few calls on RIOT. I took a little bit of loss on it because it's just not giving me the action. I figured I could move it into some other miners that have been giving me a lot more movement, like CleanSpark. I did move some into CleanSpark. I also put it into some CIFR warrants as well, which have already gained back anything I lost on RIOT, waiting for this thing to actually do a thing. I still have some of those calls that I did purchase on RIOT that are long dated. They're all leaps. They all go out to 2026, the ones that I picked up. And this one is actually showing more strength than Mara right now. We got a gap up. So this was like a waterfall moment. So they energized Corsica. I believe that was yesterday. I don't have to do a whole video about that, but they energized it yesterday. So we're going to see how much this adds to their bottom line, how much hash they're going to be having post-halving here now, and they are getting the benefit of that today by being up almost as much as CleanSpark. Actually, they might be up a little bit more than CleanSpark. Doesn't matter. They're up plus 5% today. They got a gap up. Is this going to be the gap up and go, where we get right back up to this area where the bear flag happened around $10 and possibly even eclipse that and move our way up? If they continue to, if they show really excellent growth out of this Corsica upgrade, man, this thing could just absolutely rip, and I'll probably potentially be a little bit upset that I sold some of those calls in a loss and rolled them over. Actually, I won't, because I've already made that money back. So who cares? It's going to be just fine. Let's take a look at Bit Digital. Bit Digital is what's going on today. They're up 5% as well. Not so much of a gap up. Look at this. It came right up to the bottom of the megaphone. Technicals are so amazing. It came right up to the bottom of the megaphone, stopped, just absolutely stopped right there, which is also the midline of this descending channel. That kind of sucks. That gives us a bit of a bad omen that this could turn around and come back down to the lows around 180 before really ramping back up again. I think we're going to need a news catalyst out of Bit Digital. I think we're going to need to see the April mining update, the earnings report. We're going to have to see that. And also, honestly, we're going to have to see continued increases in the monthly revenue from their AI business. I think we get those three things, and Bit Digital is likely to break back into this megaphone and maybe back up to the top of it, or hopefully back up to $3. That would be finally pretty good for Bit Digital. Bitfarms is still in this upward channel here. It's not doing great, not doing bad. It's up 1.85%. It's not, it is a red candle because it's come down from where it opened, but it is still up a little bit on the day. We are seeing a bit of a shooting star sort of candle forming today, but of course it's early, so there's a lot more that could happen today. But you can see we're just going to do a V on this bad boy. We're doing a V right now. And until things change, I'm going to say that this is going to be a V, and we might come all the way back up into that 220 range. Actually, honestly, we'll probably stop around $2. Piddle around a little bit, go sideways for a couple of days, make a bear or bull flag, excuse me, and then take off from there. That's probably what we're going to see out of farms, to be honest. So this is looking like it might end up being a V-shaped recovery for Bitfarms. Let's take a look at IREN. What is going on with IREN? IREN up 5% as well. This is also doing a very similar thing like Bitfarms. It had that, except right now this is looking a lot like controlled buying. right here. This is very tight, very deliberate. This is what controlled buying looks like. This is like when a big player wants to accumulate. This is what that looks like. So and then it will dip back down like 7, 8% after, a few days of this, and then it'll just rocket. Watch. Let's see that happen. Let me find like an area where it did that, where it was like doing some controlled buying, like where it was obviously some, yeah, like right here or right here. So there's a couple of them right back here, right here. This little channel right here. Boom. Ah, this was relatively controlled buying right here, and then they let it sell off a bit, a little bit more buying, let it sell off a bit, then did another round down here, which is fits exactly inside of the previous one, right? They did another one, then they allowed that to sell off a little more than halfway, or yeah, that before buying it back up again, and then from there, what happens? Rocket. So let's watch for something like that on IREN, so we've got this controlled buying happening right now after that big sell-off. Looking for this to maybe continue on for another day or two, maybe come down flat, maybe erase this current candle right here in a day or two, and then come back up a little higher, and then erase one of the big candles from that move, and then launch. That's what I'm looking for on IREN right now. It may or may not happen. We'll see. It might just launch, who knows? But I don't think it's going to break down from here because this is clearly a controlled buying sort of pattern that's going on with IREN right now. Let's take a look at CIFR. What's going on with CIFR? CIFR is up 1.36%, not as much as I would have hoped today. We are printing a pretty nice candle. Again, it is looking a little bit like some of that controlled buying after this sell-off here. Now this could come back up a little higher, maybe like $4 before trying to sell off a little bit and staying inside of this descending channel for a little bit. We do need to break out of this thing and break back into this ascending channel that I've got right here to really get this thing kicking off. But CIFR's not looking too bad. Let's look at the warrants real quick. I do have about 1,000 of these now. I bought at 92 cents. I should have bought more at 85. I actually have a buy order. I wonder if that triggered. No, because that was a couple days ago and it didn't trigger. Never mind. This morning we were up at $1.11, and we are now at 103. So I'm up like maybe $100 or so on this thing right now. Just kind of waiting. I've got a sell order on this bad boy up at like 193 or something, like between like high 180s and 190s. I'd have to look again, but it's up here near the top of this box here, just above this orange line that I've got on my chart right here for the CIFR warrants. Let's take a look at HUT. What's going on with HUT today? HUT is also up 2.41%. They are getting a little bit, again, same sort of controlled buying pattern going on in HUT that is going on in IREN, that is going on in Bitfarms. That was, yeah, basically those three. So we've got a very similar buying pattern happening on Bitfarms, IREN, and HUT. So it could be a similar actor working on doing that, because it is just a very short, small, shallow, tight upward move, not getting anyone too excited, not bringing up too much attention to itself. It might even sell off a little bit. Not a lot though, but like a little bit in like a controlled way, and then just at some point, this thing's gonna just launch. And that's what we're waiting for. That's what we're looking for. This is inside of the ascending channel on HUT, which has a top somewhere up in the $12 range here. We're currently at $8, so it's not quite a doubling, but it's not too far off from it either. We do need to get up and above this $9 level to really kick things off. That's where this previous high way back here in January was. And then we'll be looking at trying to get up towards like the $10, $11, $12 from there on HUT. All right, so that is the miners. Let's take a look at NVIDIA and Tesla, because something exciting happened. So first we're going to actually look at Tesla. Tesla got down into 145. Remember when I was saying that just the other week, that it was going to get into 145? It hasn't come all the way to 144, but I did say it was going to get into the low 40s, and guess what? Got into the low 40s in the pre-market today. And the candle it is currently printing for the daily candle is actually pretty ugly. This does not look good. If Tesla closes out like this, with this inverted hammer sort of candle, if it prints that, that's bad. Then we're definitely going to be coming in looking at 144 if it prints that candle for the day today. Possibly, and this is my theory right now, that we are going to, I don't think we're going to go to 122. I think we're probably going to get closer to like a 135, 136 on this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put actually this candle right there. That one stands out to me. How did I pick that candle? I don't know. It just looked like it stood out to me. This one right here. Oh, excuse me. This one right here. This candle. This big red boy. right here that also lines up pretty nice with the other red boy right behind it. Let's just do, yep, these two candles, this one and this one, those stood out to me when I looked at this chart right now. I didn't necessarily choose them at random, but I also don't have like a super big rhyme or reason to have chosen that candle. I just looked back there and I said, that one stands out. I feel like that's where the feeling is that this chart could come to. Now I'm not saying it's going to come to 136 exactly, but that is an area where you can see that some candles decided to make a pretty hard stop, like 1, 2, 3, 4 candles all kind of congregated in this area. I mean, you could make that case for like down here as well, or like 130 or something. So it might go right through this. It might come right up to it and turn right around again. But I do see a nice big wick on the bottom of a candle in front of them. So I got 4 candles kind of congregating in this area. I've got 2 candles with some big wicks just above this area here. So this looks good to me. It is a bit of a, a little bit more art than science there, but that's what I see when I look at the chart. This is the line I'm looking for right now. I'm gonna make this nice bright yellow. I am looking for Tesla up to the earnings, or if earnings are bad, because we are expecting them to not be great. If earnings are bad, I'm expecting Tesla to come close to this 136 level, like maybe dip just below 140 for a day or two after those earnings, maybe 3 or 4 days actually. So next Tuesday is when we will know. Right now I'm just watching Tesla. I am looking for a reversal in Tesla because when Tesla does a reversal, it is a 100% rip. But right now is not that time. It's not there yet. Still waiting. I have to see structure start to form. Right now, the only thing I see is complete collapse in the stock price right now. It looks like everyone hates this stock. In fact, I can get rid of this right now. So we're looking for a bit like back here, right? We got these stairs. These were stairs up, they fell down, and then we had some stairs up, they fell down, right? So I want to see like some stairs down versus waterfalls down. I want to see steps down followed by absolute rockets up. I want to see the opposite of what's going on from January 25th to today. I want to see a complete opposite of this pattern right here start forming on the Tesla chart. I want to see stair steps down followed by rockets up, stair steps down followed by rockets up. That's what I want to see on Tesla before I'm going to feel like, yeah, it's time. Let's go. Or maybe around like 137, I'll just say YOLO and just gamble into some Tesla at that point. We'll see, maybe. NVIDIA. NVIDIA came down, actually touched my little line here almost twice. Let's go show the pre-market here. Let me get into the 15-minute chart here. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of this bad boy. So this morning, yesterday we went down to 124, like on the dot. This morning we went down to 125.96. We are getting so close to this line right here. If that line breaks, if it breaks, and it's looking like it wants to break, especially with how ugly some of these candles are, if this line wants to break, we're going to come down to 800, potentially down to like the high 700s, like potentially down into this fair value gap right here between here. I'll draw it. This is a fair value gap. I'll draw it right here. Let's see, right here and here. And actually, there's an indicator for fair value gaps if you just want them to show up on your chart and not have to look for them. Right there, though, I think we might come tap the top of this fair value gap, maybe get into it a little bit around 784, and then we'll start seeing a turnaround on this thing. And when this thing turns around, man, it's going to be quite the feat, quite the thing to see when NVIDIA does turn around, because this thing is an absolute beast. I do not think that this thing is going to be falling much further than this little fair value gap down here at most, because this is a super strong stock. Now, would I short it down to here? Maybe with a small position. Of course, this is not financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. But maybe with a small position, maybe, because like this thing, when it goes up, it just rips your face off. So I would not be messing around with large chunks of money trying to short NVIDIA, because that scares me to death. But like a small position that I'd like snipe in and out of, sure, I'd take it all the way down to this level here, and hopefully not lose any money while doing it. And then, but once it gets there, I'd be looking for a reversal, and that reversal is going to come hard, it's going to come fast, and it's going to launch us over $1,000 when it comes. So keep your eyes on that. What's the other thing? ARM did something very exciting today. It broke this line, man. We had a gap down, actually. Well, they touch, but the gap for the bodies. Woo. It actually went under $100 a little bit today. I am waiting for it to come into contact with this ascending red line here, and potentially this green line, maybe. But the ascending red line is really my target. So I'm looking for about $94, $95 on ARM. And honestly, on ARM, even though it has some some issues that I really don't like in terms of their ownership, I am looking to potentially start collecting enough to run some covered options on this stock eventually. I really want this one. I've really wanted this one since it opened, and it took off on me, and now I've been patiently waiting for this thing to do exactly what it's doing right now. And I want to see it tap this line. I want to see it tap this red line and bounce off that red line, and that's going to be my confirmation that it's time to go on ARM. So that's what I'm watching for them right now. Square, block actually in the pre-market today went under $70 for a little bit. Let's bring that up. Actually, I don't need that. Let's go to the 1 hour. Get rid of you. We actually went under $70 a little bit today, right? Oh, we didn't. It was $70.57. We got to 70.57. Now, I'll tell you right now, though, this right here, this is the liquidity build right here. This is very controlled buying, followed by a big red candle. We close this hourly red candle down here. I'm going to be looking for a further move down, maybe another big red candle taking us all the way back down to maybe 70, maybe lower. I still think that this thing could hit 68 before trying to turn around. Now, if it closes up and above 74, then I was wrong about it coming down to 68. But 70 is pretty close. I feel pretty good about that, actually. So the fact that it's actually this candle turned blue and is up, it was negative for a while. And this morning down in the low 70s, now it is turning green and coming back up. So perhaps I won't get what I want in terms of coming to 68. But if it comes up, price comes up and closes above the body of this candle right here at 73.50. If it gets up and holds above that, once I get 2 days of closure above that, I'd be looking for a rocket. If this closes below the body of this thing at 72.10, I'd be looking for it to come back down to 68 in the next couple of days before making its move up for block. So that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day. Also, look out for the second video today. I will be doing another video once the Bitcoin halving happens. I want to see who got that epic sat. I want to see what happens when it comes. I'm very excited about today. Today's a wonderful day. Let's all celebrate with these excellent moves on the Bitcoin miners, as well as what is going to happen with the halving coming up very soon.